Right, got all the wiring done, back end and everything. The wiring isn't tied in as yet, as in cable tied and clamped in place wherever it needs to be clamped. Reason being, I want to test it. It's pointless tying it all in and then finding out if something's not right. But I've just changing over my headlight to take out that older style lens to put in the clear one, and I just thought I'd show how these things come apart. Now, most people will know, but for those that don't, you've got little clips just in there, you can see that. Now basically, just get yourself a screwdriver, put it up, twist, and the clip just comes out. Do exactly the same on the other on the other two. I nearly said the other three then. And just keep an eye on where that flew to. It's best to put your finger over the middle of the clip, because as that one just did, it went flying. So when it pops, it just comes out in your hand rather than halfway down my drive. And as it's dark, I'm going to have to get my torch out and go looking. But basically, that's it, it just comes out of the ring then. So, and on the back of this, there's the rubber caps and stuff. But I'll show that going on there when I put the bit in. So I'll just stick that to one side, and I'll just knock it off for a minute while I go and get me torch and find where this clip went. Right, back in a minute. Right, found my clip. It was quite easy to find, to be fair, because the lights, when I had my torch, the light shone on it with it being a nice shiny goldy colour. Right, you've got to line your headlight up. I've got, this is the new one obviously. The bit where the screw, obviously that's the bottom. But to help you, because obviously you're looking at it from that side, to help you on the top, I don't know if you can see that. So I'll just grab a torch. On the top there you can see there's an arrow. So that arrow is on the top side of the light, so eye it up through the middle of the bulb down to your screw hole, and that'll be your headlight in line. So the next step, clip, slip it underneath the headlight and get, I find it easier if you do these all three and stick one bit in. So again, stick it under, just so that it's down in its sort of cavity, if that's what you want to call it. Same with the last one. Just get it slipped in. Now by doing this, putting all three in, what it helps do is you've got to keep the middle pressed so that it stays inside the chrome part. So these help it stop, if it does if you flick that bottom bit under. It helps stop the ball shooting out towards you when you're trying to push this clip down. So just push it until the clips in place. And there you can see on the other ones the clips are still out, but they helped keep the headlight ball in the chrome ring, because they can They can be a pain in the arse at times. And you know when it's clipped in, as you'll probably hear that. And for some reason the last one's always an arse. So I'll just give it a bit of a helping hand. That's it. So that's your 3 clamps back in. And then double check your alignment. And I'm just ever so slightly off with that, but if you get a good grip on the light, you can actually turn it slightly. Just eye that through, and that's now in line. So the next bit, now I don't know how different on the older headlight, that just sort of pulled over there, over the edges, and if you put it in the right way around, dumbass, so it goes on there. What this does is it helps with the when you clamp it in place in the actual ball, these bits, in fact you can see on the rubbers, you can see these lines going across there where it was contacting on the ball on there, and it just helps stop the vibration in the headlight unit. You'd be surprised at how many people just take these off and throw them and then whinge that they're getting a rattling from the front end. And then the other bit just lines up with the three prongs on the headlight. And just pulls over. That's it. This one's been a bit awkward because it's actually, to be fair, it's a very, very slight different design. The ball, it's off a newer headlight, but it's on, and then when you put your headlight clamp on it, it'll push it in anyways and hold it in place. So we shall put these side light wires on first, because they're always a pain. That was one of the things as well with the other headlight ball. The contact had actually snapped. Tangled up here in the headlight wire. Right, side on, and then get the actual main bulb, main connector, sorry. Push that in place. Things like that. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. This has a bit on the inside that pushes down over the bulb, but there's a spring in the way, so I'm not going to be putting that on. It's not going to make any difference, but if it fits, use it. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. Right, now put your plug on. That's it. Loop it over its... what the fuck's that catching on now? Seems I'm just going to have to bend my connectors up for my side light bulb because they're catching on the bottom plate. That's it. Sure it's all lining up. Pull it in, find my screw. My screwdriver. Here we go. Good. Now you've got to push down on these. That's it. In fact, that isn't it, it's just popped off. What I might have done here, it's something that I should have checked before I tried to put the screw in. Them 3 clamps that hold the ball in, make sure that don't impede, and that one does. So I'm going to have to move this clamp because it's catching on where this hook's underneath. So what I'll do is I'll knock you off, I'll move the clamp that's in the way, the little spring clip thing, and I'll bolt my headlight back in and then I'll come back. Won't be long. And there you have it, headlight ball changed and back in. Once I'd moved the clip, went in no problem. Right, so what I was saying earlier about all the wiring's done, just not, I'll just zoom back out a bit. All the wiring's done and it's just not tied in. Basically, I could actually find my dash, plug my dash in and switch it all on and test it all. But one of the things that I know will happen if I do that is my brake lights will be on permanent. Reason being is, I'll just lift this camera up a bit. Yeah, reason being, there's a little switch in here that's for your front brake, and it works in, when you pull the lever, the little bar on your lever, for lack of a better term, it lifts out that way, releases that switch, puts your brake lights on. Then when you let your lever back off, it presses back on the little switch. So what I'll do is I might as well put this front end together, as in put the front brake on, mount the throttle cables and get the clutch cable in, and then at least I know it'll be right, and I can then put the dash on and we can have a look and make sure everything's working. So yeah, Also, I'm having a debate in my own head about putting the other cable back on, running the dual cable. Anyone who watched the Deuce videos know that I set off with a double cable, and then never bothered with it. I took the return cable back off, but because it's for her, I might put that back on. Right, I won't bore you with putting that together, but I will come back when I'm putting the clutch in, because there's something to show you on that. Right, back soon. Right, I've got the controls back on, as in the brake reservoir's bolted up, the throttle cables are in, they're not set, they're just on, if you know what I mean. But on the clutch, if anyone remembers, if anyone's watched all my videos, earlier on in one of my earlier videos, I fitted an easy pull clutch kit, and part of the kit was this black bit. Now basically that goes on here, and I'm going to try and get this on without blocking your view. So basically you can only go on one way, so just feed it on, and it's like an extension of that piece there. So then you're just going to pull, get the, I can't see the frigging hole. That's it. Now obviously the clutch isn't set neither, but it makes for a lot easier clutch pull. Because it did have quite a hard clutch on this, which didn't bother me. Right, I'll just straighten this up a bit. Right, I think the next step is alter this. In fact, what I'll do is I'll knock it off. I'll alter the position of this camera. When I come back, I'll have ratcheted the dash out, and as I say, we'll get this set up. I'll put the dash on, and we'll test the electrics. See if I've fooked up. Right, I'll be back soon. Right, just ratcheted the dash out, and she's a bit covered in shit, so I'm gonna just give her a quick wipe off. This is the dreaded dust that's on everything else. Just a quick wipe off. As I've already said in an earlier video, this thing will be getting cleaned properly from front to back when it's finished. But that'll do for now. Right, I'm going to fit this dash should I say, but before I do, I'll put that down there. Before I do, I'm just going to change the battery on the camera, because I've just noticed there's hardly any battery left. Back in a second. Right, I'm back. I'll just alter this camera a touch. Right, I'll fit the dash, and then we can test some electrics. Right, that's the dash connected. Well, not all of it, just the bits that I need connected. Now this has been a while, can't even remember which key it was. I think, yep, one of them has the battery's flat in it, but as you can see, the headlight's on. I might take that centre bit out, I'll see, but as you can see on that side, the light's on the front of the mudguard. It's also on the front of this one, so that's a good sign. I'll take you off and show you around the back in a minute. But I don't seem to have a backlight. Why have I not got a backlight? Dodgy connection. The piston screwdriver gone. Because I've been yanking the plugs about, fuck have I done with that? Oh, it's there. I've pulled one of the connectors in the plug. So I'll just push that back in. That's it, nearly. Oh, it's the middle one I've pulled out. That's it. Ooh. Yeah, so all the backlights are on, which again, as I say, I'll show you in a minute. So right, now I've got no fucking brake lights. Right. Right on here. I know what I might have done. When I had this opened up, to put the throttle cables on, I might have knocked the LAL switch inside. So what I'll just do, I'll just push this forward slightly. And lift it off. So, obviously headlight, and you can see that the front lights are on both fenders. There's wire and shit all over the spot at the minute. The back lights are on the fenders. The new, and as you can see there, the light shines down, which, as I say, the number plate will be on there. If I grab that level, I can push, hopefully you'll be able to see this, push, where the hell am I? I'm just going to zoom out as far as I can. Oh, I was. Right, so as you can see there, that brake light's coming on and off, but also the indicators come on as brake lights as well, and I should be able to, from here, using the big level, switch an indicator on. Right, so if I, just to show that, I don't know how well this will pick up on the camera, but there, as you can see, brake light comes on. You can still see this is a lot brighter in reality than it is on the camera, but just switch that off. Switch the other one on. So everything seems to be working apart from the brake light for the handlebars. Now I know that when I tested, put you back on here for now. When I tested the wiring, getting the handlebars with the multimeter, everything was fine. So I must have knocked. Where's my torch? Because these buttons aren't the most secure thing. Right, I'll have to investigate that one. But, as you can see there, most of the electrics are working. Apart from the front brake, which I will sort. If that's my only issue, I'm quite pleased with that. And as I say, I'll take this cover out of this headlight and see if it's any better. I haven't got one, I'm just checking now because I can't remember. Yeah, I've actually took the one out the front of the electric light as well, so I'll take that out. So So far so good. I've got everything to set up, like the clutch is all to set, brakes, front brakes to bleed up properly, throttle cables are to set properly. Obviously I've got this front brake light issue to sort out. But apart from that, everything else seems to be working. I just need to shove all them connectors back in properly, because I've been pulling on wires and like trying to route stuff, and I've actually got a couple of the connectors have come loose. So, as I say, I'm quite pleased with that everything works. Well, nearly everything. Yeah, so I think for now I'll knock you off again. I'll have an investigation into this front brake, see why it's not working, and I'll get everything set up, clutch, throttles and etc. And then we'll carry on from there. Right, won't be long. One thing I forgot to mention and forgot to show, because I just completely forgot about it, I've just switched the bike back on, turned the heated grips on. This was like a couple of minutes ago, because they do take a while to heat up. And basically my heated grips are getting warm, so that's working as well. So I just thought I'd quickly show that, even though you can't see that they're heated up, but they are. So that's another thing that's working right. Right, knock you off again. Right, I've had this lot apart to find out why I had no front brake, as in brake lights. When I took this lot apart to put the throttle cables on and then put it back together, I'd caught one of the little wires inside, and where it joins in to the switch, it sort of bent it right round on itself and snapped the wire, which is why I didn't have any brake lights. So anyway, stripped it, soldered it back together, etc., and now it works. So what I'll do is I'll just switch it on first. Well, you wouldn't have been able to see from there, but I'll just lift it off here for a second. Zoom out. Right, so if I stand over here so that my feet aren't on there, and just shine the light, move myself a bit further over, still reach the bars. Now when I pull the lever, you can see, and you should, if I can get down far enough. So you can see there, it all works now. I've also, I'll just put you back on this stand. I've also, off camera, when I sorted that out, I realised that I'd actually routed my cables in the wrong way. I had them coming out the outside of the bars, and when they're all tightened up and in like position sort of thing, they all sort of sit nicely. The clutch cable I ran down the outside, which that's the way it's meant to go, that it is now. So I've put them where they should be. I'll just turn this back off. So yeah, I'm happy now. Oh, I also went through all my plugs. You know, when I switched it on yesterday and I had no rear lights and it was a loose connection on one of my plugs. I've been and checked all my plugs and made sure that all the connectors are pushed in properly, because some of these are new connectors, and I obviously just hadn't pushed it all the way home till it clipped in. So I've double checked all them and they're right now. So I'm happy that all the electrics are sort of done now. Also, it's going to be temporary, the electrics, I've decided. I don't mean temporary as I'm going to do away with all the electrics, because then the thing won't run. What I mean is, because it's not a bike anymore, and I only thought of this after, I'm just going to alter this camera a bit. Yeah, I only thought of this after I'd done all the wiring. It's busy under this seat now because there's a lot of wires joining up, like with plugs. So it then hit me that because it's not a bike anymore and there's got no rear wheel in it, I'm going to make a little bit under here that's all covered and sealed, and I'm going to extend all this wiring that's all in here, and I'm going to bring it in to underneath what was the rear mudguard. Basically it'll make it a lot less fussy in there, and better for, just generally better for routing wires so that they're not all crammed into one little space. And as I say, because there's no wheel in here anymore, I don't have to worry about anything coming up and hitting it underneath. But that won't happen yet. As you know, as I've said umpteen times, the paint job on this thing at the minute is temporary. We just got to get it built up, make sure everything's right, take it for an MOT, and then get it done on the paperwork at DVLA that it's a Trike. Once they're happy that once it passes its MOT etc. and it's been thinged as a Trike, then it'll all be coming apart again. Not straight away, but it'll be coming apart again to get painted properly in the finished colour that we want. Or should I say that she wants. When that happens, that's when I'll sort all the wiring out and I'll make like an enclosed panel underneath the old rear mudguard, and just generally make things a lot tidier in the electrical side of things. So for now, I'm going to call it a day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust up the clutch, set the throttle cables properly, tie in some wiring so that it's not rattling about like it is at the minute. When I said I had all the wiring done, underneath the rear mudguard, the wire up to the new light, it's just two wires joined together, just like the wires are just crimped with a little bit of tape over them, just to test it. But so what I'll do is I'll run that in and tidy it up and route it properly and join it up properly. I'll get the I'm getting a bit ahead of myself there actually. Yeah, I'll sort the wiring out, adjust these cables so that everything's as it should be, and then we'll come back and we'll crack on with the next bit. Right, that's it for now. Ta-ra!